Now let me explain to you about Azure Machine Learning. Azure Machine Learning is a cloud-based platform for machine learning. Data scientists need very powerful computing systems in order to train and validate their models. Since these algorithms operate upon a large volume of data, then you need to build up some infrastructure so that it is possible for the data scientists to use those computing power, which could be sometimes parallel processing, in order to train the model and also validate the model. Azure offers us Azure Machine Learning, which is a cloud-based, fully managed platform for data scientists and anyone and developers who would like to work with machine learning. In order to work with Azure Machine Learning, you will have to have a Azure subscription. Then you will be creating a working area called as a Azure Machine Learning Workspace, which is the unit of managing your machine learning related tasks and work. Within this machine learning workspace, you can use different types of compute, different sizes, different computing power in order to run your algorithm against the validation, against the sample data. And then it can also involve activities like dividing the data into training set, dividing the data set into training and validation set, then testing them, refining them, and testing them again. So Azure Machine Learning Workspace will offer you the compute that can be used for making this happen. And then when we want to train and validate, we will be creating the jobs, and these jobs will be run. That means the execution of our code for training the data or validation or data cleansing, several things are there, will be run by this compute. And then after we are satisfied with our model, we would like to expose that model as a service. Azure Machine Learning Workspace will be able to expose this model as a service endpoint, which can be called by the applications, and they can get the predicted output, whether the results are yes or no, or whether that's a clustering, depending upon what kind of machine learning model training you have done, and whether it is a supervised learning or unsupervised learning. Now the entire data can also be stored within the machine learning workspace by using some database concepts as well. We are not going into the deeper details of it. Later on, maybe we will understand Azure Machine Learning Workspace in more detail and understand the little bit more in-depth meaning of this compute, job, services, and data. So, in short, a machine learning workspace, which is a part of your Azure subscription, will contain compute, jobs, services, data, and models. You can always do versioning, etc., of these models and everything. And for this, the best part is that you are not managing this workspace. This is fully managed service offered by Microsoft Azure. The other area of Azure Machine Learning is called as AML, or Automated Machine Learning. Now, automated machine learning is something which is doing where we supply the data and desired supervised model type and let the Azure Machine Learning find the best model. Because as a data scientist, you would like to check your data against multiple models, multiple algorithms, and want to arrive at the model which is best, which is very close to the prediction that you're expecting that model to make. So instead of you deciding about the algorithm and testing and doing everything, automated machine learning can help developing models which can be used, or maybe if you want, you can initially develop the model and then you can always fine tune those models to make the prediction. In short, automated machine learning makes your work simpler by finding the best model based upon your data and algorithm that has been selected. You can also add your own algorithms if you want, or let the Azure decide about the algorithm and find the best model out of it. So this is automated machine learning. The Azure Machine Learning Designer is a graphical tool for creating a machine learning pipeline. So it can use a pipeline, a training pipeline to train and evaluate a model, and create an inference pipeline to predict the labels from the new data. And then finally, we can deploy the inference pipeline as a service for the applications to use. For example, here, if you notice that in this case, this is my diabetes data. The first thing that we are doing here is normalizing the data, which means we are removing unwanted data or some corrupt data from the data set. After that, we have a step in this pipeline is to split the data. And this splitting of data provides us with a data that will be for use for training, and the other one which will be used for validation. And then with this designer, we can always use the algorithm that we want to apply on the data, and then we will outcome will be to train the model. And after the training of the model is done, you will get a score model, which means you will come to know that this is a model which can be used on the basis of existing data, which also has the labels in it. And then finally we can go and evaluate the model against the validation data which is there. And if this validation is if this validation is as per our expectation, then we can also deploy the inference pipe. We can also deploy it as a service endpoint. So you can create an inference pipeline. In short, this is a visual tool which can help you in creating the entire solution of the machine learning by creating it a pipeline, which is nothing but step by step execution, and you can do it graphically, which means you don't have to write several functions in different languages and then find a way to run one function, then second, then third, and so on and so forth. So you will land up creating training pipeline and inference pipeline. And then once we are happy with the outcome, we can deploy the inference pipeline as a service for the apps to use.